Disability Network Eastern Michigan's logo appears on the screen.
July is such an important month for the disability community, especially July 26th. July 26th, we celebrate Americans with Disabilities Day, also known as ADA Day. Today I'm with my colleague, Amy Maes.
Hi, thank you, Jeffrey. So I'm Amy Maes, and I'm the Associate Director here at Disability Network Eastern Michigan. I'm also a licensed attorney and started practicing law right when the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed. So I've got just years of experience when it comes to, how architects reacted to telling them how they had to design buildings according to the guidelines, to people saying outright you cannot bring an animal into a restaurant. And so just years of different cases along the way after the ADA came out.
So why do we celebrate ADA Day? What's the importance of the Americans with Disabilities Day?
So the Americans with Disabilities Act was the most comprehensive piece of civil rights legislation that was passed for people with disabilities. And really, it was a culmination of decades of advocacy efforts. And so what we do is we want to celebrate and recognize all of the people who came before us, who really advocated and dedicated their lives to making sure that there was awareness, that there was empathy, that there was acknowledgement of the fact that people with disabilities were not being included in their communities, but for the fact that we were designing our environment to keep them excluded, right? And so we recognize and honor them as a part of our celebration of the ADA, but also to look at how far we've come, right? And in terms of how we design buildings, how we offer accommodations, how we just as a society are much more open. You can't legislate attitude, right? But you can celebrate how far we've come in terms of our society embracing the dignity of all of our community members. And so we also take the ADA Day to acknowledge how far we've come. And then we also want to have a moment to raise awareness of the struggles that are ahead, right? As we look to our digital space, it's throwing up barriers that people hadn't thought about. And so it's such a great law because it's come so far and it's going to take us into the future in terms of equal protection and equal access for all.
So can you tell me how Centers for Independent Living fall into ADA Day? Disability Network Eastern Michigan is also a Center for Independent Living.
Absolutely. So Centers for Independent Living, there's CILs throughout the United States, and there's 15 specifically in Michigan. And really, like I said earlier, Centers for Independent Living existed before the Americans with Disabilities Act, and were really part of the advocacy efforts towards getting it passed. And so it really was the voices of individuals, was the ability to network, the ability to collaborate, and to build their own little communities that gave us a chance to know, gave us a chance to hear their voices, right? And so as a Center for Independent Living, we exist to assist anyone, regardless of what their age is, to maintain or increase their independent living. And so the Americans with Disabilities Act is the proclamation of independence for people with disabilities. And so for us, as Centers for Independent Living, it was that green light to say, finally, here we go. Everybody has a chance to have independence in every aspect of their lives.
Thank you for being here with us, Amy.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
And check out events going on in your local community, because throughout the month of July, many communities are celebrating ADA Day.
Mission statement. Disability Network Eastern Michigan is committed to promoting inclusion for all by breaking down barriers and opening paths towards independence and personal choice through resources, advocacy, information, support, and education. Disability Network Eastern Michigan's vision is together the work that each one of us does helps towards our vision of being a community where those living with disabilities are empowered to pursue personal growth and choice through access to community resources and supportive services. Disability Network Eastern Michigan's logo appears again, serving Huron, Lapeer, Macomb, Oakland, Sanilac, St. Clair, and Tuscola counties. For more information, check out our website at www.dnemichigan.org.